First off, I want to explain why focusing too much on the girl's actions doesn't work. You may have heard the phrase outcome dependent in game. Well, focusing on the girl's actions is by its nature outcome dependent. You're focused on the goal and you want to make that goal happen to the point that if that's your focus, you're not concerned about the person involved with the goal, you're just involved with the action. The extreme example of this, and I see this sometimes, is there's a move in pickups called like the handshake spin, right? So you grab the girl's hand, you spin her around, right? It's an old school pickup move. Not maybe the best move, not the worst move, whatever. It is what it is. The funny thing that I see sometimes is guys have done this move and it's worked sometimes. So they did the handshake spin and it kind of worked. And so they get it in their minds that their goal is they're going to walk in and then their escalation, they're going to do this handshake spin. So they take the girl's hand, they start spinning her, and the girl's like, what is this? I'm resisting it. And the guy is so caught up on the girl's action, like I will make her spin, that you see him like physically trying to force them and push them around to spin. The goal isn't to get her to spin, the goal is to, sleep with her. Or the girl really, what it should be, and we'll get to this later, is to make her feel such positive emotions towards you that she chooses to sleep with you actively, as opposed to you even pushing for sleeping with her. That's the end goal. But the point is, if you're too caught up on one action, you're going to be very rigid in your approach, you're not going to be flexible, and you're going to be like very pushy and needy towards that action and appear to have an agenda. It's going to derail a lot of your game. So that's an extreme example where the action you're pushing for isn't even your real end goal. But this can happen with going for a kiss. There are a lot of guys that they'll get so outcome dependent for the action of the girl needs to kiss me, and they'll do all these weird things to try and kiss the girl. You know what? There are a lot of scenarios where kissing the girl is actually the wrong move in terms of sleeping with her. I'll give you one. If the girl has a boyfriend, I have found that a lot of times you can sleep with her without kissing her, but if you kiss her, she'll get weirded out by the whole thing and nothing will happen, okay? So the point is, if you're so caught up in her action, rather than thinking what is her emotional experience, what does she need, what is the journey she needs to be taken on, then you're gonna come up against a lot of limitations and restrictions in your game, and there'll be a lot of hurdles that you just will not be able to overcome, okay? So it's very, very critical that you not be so outcome focused, because it makes you needy, it makes you appear to have an agenda, which makes you untrustworthy, and it makes you also unaware of all the flexible maneuvers that are available to you because you're so tunnel vision on that particular action. And finally, and we'll talk about this a little more in depth in a later section, you're not simulating the ideal scenario. Remember we talked earlier how the ideal scenario is that the girl is chasing the guy, right? The girl is chasing the guy. If you're focused on getting an action from her, by definition, you're pushing, you're trying for something, so it's impossible for her to chase, okay? So you're actually making it impossible for that ideal scenario to happen. We'll talk a couple of videos down the line about exactly how to make that ideal scenario happen when you're thinking about things